Are you looking for a university that offers quality, innovative courses and in an incredible location here in beautiful Borneo? You should be here.
Now, the Curtin Business School courses we offer are accredited by the Association to Advance Collegiate Schools of Business.
Now, due to Curtin's strong ties with industry, our graduates have been able to secure diverse and interesting positions all around the world. That's why you should be here. So here we are at the Faculty of Humanities. We have courses which are forward-thinking, practical, creative, and relevant to society. We offer a Bachelor of Arts Mass Communication degree and postgraduate studies by research in media, culture, and creative arts. And within all these courses, students can tailor their studies to suit their particular career goals. That's why you should be here. So here we are in the Faculty of Engineering and Science, where all courses are accredited by Malaysian and Australian authorities. In addition, industry assists us in the formulation of those courses, and this gives the students a great opportunity for work placement in this oil and gas hub of Miri, and that is why you should be here.
We also have foundation studies
For preparation for your degree in arts, commerce, or engineering and science. This university has a wonderful staff-student ratio, and we have a state-of-the-art facility technologically and in teaching and learning. And that's why you should be here. Okay, we've come to the end of our little brief tour of Curtin Malaysia, and I hope you enjoyed it. And it only remains for us to say...
Hello everyone. Hi, welcome. So welcome to Curtin Going Places with the Curtin Degree Webinar. So in this episode, we are featuring 3 Curtin alumni who graduate from the Curtin Malaysia campus who are now working abroad from their home country.
Okay, right. Okay, Julius, actually, I can't really hear you, but that's okay. Okay, the 3 Curtin alumni from Malaysia, Vietnam, and Bangladesh who are now pursuing successful career in Singapore, Australia, and Malaysia. Stay tuned with us throughout the webinar to find out from them what unique challenges that you face when working in a foreign country and how far a Curtin degree can bring you.
And you will also hear from us how has the COVID-19 pandemic impacted their industry and what the new graduate can expect in the new normal. So I am Julius, I'm your host today. So I am a Curtin Malaysia alumni. I was working as a journalist. Now I'm working as a lead analyst in Malaysia in big data industry. So I'm also the committee members for the Malaysia's alumni. So together with me is Cassandra.
Hi, I'm Cassandra, and I am currently a student, a final year student in Curtin, Malaysia. I'm currently taking Bachelor in Commerce, Marketing and PR. And I've joined quite a lot of organizing events, such as volunteering and all that. And so, yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah,
as a reminder at the beginning, so share this live video and comment hashtag Curtin Malaysia to stand a chance winning a set of exclusive Curtin merchandise where you can get it you can't get it from the Curtin bookshop. So 2 lucky winner will be announced at the end of the whole session. Okay.
Mhm. And the set of Curtin merchandise include a laptop sleeve, notebook, file holder, notepad, and pen. So start sharing the video and comment now, and you can be the lucky one.
So how's study now, Cassandra?
Study now, well, because of the pandemic, everything is online now. We can't go to campus, we can't meet our friends, but then everything is actually doing it's pretty much the same, but then just that we're doing everything online. And for me, it's better because it's more flexible. I get to, I don't have to be late for class. You can just like, turn on your laptop and just go into the session with your friends. And then what about you? How's your work and
I
all?
think, yeah, the pandemic didn't change much for me. I mean, a lot of people are
Really?
actually working from home, but I'm not. I'm still in the
Are
office now, as you can see.
you in the
So,
office right now?
yes, I'm in the office now. So, yeah, I mean, I was graduate in 2014, right? Even 6 years, I didn't go back to Curtin. Can you tell
Mhm.
me anything different? I mean, is there anything different? In Diri, like, just all the shops you're around and all the facilities you're there?
Yeah, actually, there are new. There's two new facilities added in Curtin, and which is the Radio Conti for mass communication students, and Curtin Trading Room for business students. And there's also three new buildings under construction, which is the new air conditioned cafeteria and new engineering research lab, and it's almost completed. And the lakeside apartment for construction has just started this month.
I mean,
Yeah.
you are
So
still a current student, right? Do you have
yeah,
any things you look for? I mean, you're looking for since you are last year now, right?
yeah.
You are
Can
graduating
can
soon,
you
so
repeat that because I didn't quite catch
yeah.
you.
I mean, this is your last year, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, what are you looking forward? What I mean, in next year, you're going to look for a job. Is there anything you want to know or
It's
you're
scary,
wondering
but
about?
it's okay. We'll find out from our panelists because it is that is what we're here for.
Okay. So first, okay, then we will start with Lisa. So our first panelist is Lisa. She is actually from Johor. She's graduated from Curtin Malaysia with a bachelor degree in commerce, in management and marketing in 2018. So she is currently working as a sales and marketing executive with Tech certification in Singapore. It is a management consultant company based in Singapore. So during her study at Curtin Malaysia, she is quite an active student. So she joined a lot of uh, extra curriculum, and she's also a Curtin Malaysia Student Council member. So due to her excellent results, she was consistently placed on the Dean list and won several student awards, including the Best Student in Third Year International Business Unit Award and Best Management and Marketing Graduate Award. So welcome, Becky.
Bye.
Hi, thank you, Julia. Thank you, Cassandra. And good afternoon to everyone for watching this live. Thank you for sharing your times with us. So, my name is Lik Fang. I'm a Curtin Malaysia alumni class 2018, graduate with a Bachelor of Commerce in Management and Marketing. So, I'm currently working as a sales and marketing executive in Singapore. So in a management consultancy firm. So basically my company is in a testing, inspection and certification industries. And my current job, what we're doing right now is like a normal sales, generating sales leads and also closing the deals. And yes, also hi Cassandra and Julius.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, next we'll be introducing our next panelist, which is Min from Vietnam and currently working as a process engineer for the Ecolab manufacturing plant in Brisbane, Australia, where he worked under the plant manager to lead process improvement project with the aim of increasing efficiency and quality. Previously, following his graduation from Curtin, Malaysia with a Bachelor of Engineering in Chemical Engineering in 2017, he worked in a pesticide and herbicide manufacturing plant and a steel plant. During his years in Curtin, Malaysia, he was quite active, involving in the Curtin events such as the Curtin Oratory and Debating Society, and he even won first place in a technical debate competition held in conjunction with the National Chemical Engineering Symposium in 2015. Min also participated in several conferences, such as the Third International Conference on Green Chemical Engineering Technology and the Sixth Conference on Emerging Energy and Process Technology. So let's welcome Min.
Hey guys, good afternoon. How's everyone doing?
Hi, we're good. How are you?
Very good. Nice to meet everyone in the live stream as well. My name is Ming. I spent 5 years in MIRI. I'm originally from Vietnam. I did my Bachelor of Chemical Engineering and currently now in Brisbane. I work for a company that we provide chemical and technology for other industry to have cleaner water, healthy food, and helping them to save energy. Thank you.
All
So,
right.
yeah, so we have last year is a native from Bangladesh, Arab. So Arab is graduate from Curtin Malaysia with a bachelor degree of commerce in accounting in 2017. So it is a business development manager with Sales Candy International in Kuala Lumpur. So Arab is a career motivational speaker as he truly believes that growth is limited. All one needs is the right path. Right push. So he has been speaking at various events in various countries since a very young age. So initially through debating, a passion he was able to further nurture at Curtin University as a member of the Curtin Oratory and Debating Society and Curtin University Model United Nations. So Araf was also the president of various students' club and events, including the Borneo Models United Nations, Curtin University Model United Nations, and Curtin Finance Club. So he was awarded Best Delegate at the Borneo Model United Nations, Honorable Mentions Award at the BRAC Model United Nations, and Outstanding Delegates Award at the Lodge Model United Nations, all in 2016. So, welcome, Araf.
Impressive.
Hey. All right,
Hi.
that was quite a long bio for you, Julius? All right, so my name's Araf. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me. Okay, as Julius mentioned, I'm currently working in a firm called Sales Candy, and we are a sales tech firm. We're kind of like the Grab for salespeople. So we're being used by multiple verticals, including Fortune 500s and throughout Southeast Asia as well. So it's a pleasure to be here, and I'm really looking forward to this.
Okay. Okay, reminder for the audience here to share this live video and comment hashtag Curtin Malaysia to stand a chance winning a set of exclusive Curtin merchandise, and 2 lucky winners will be announced at the end of this session.
Okay, so to begin, let's start the session. So, since this webinar is for everyone's in the mess, right? I think not everyone know how every industry works. So I think it's maybe you guys can tell us what's your day-to-day job in your
Experience.
company, and is that what you dream of when you are studying? So maybe we can start with the first.
Okay. Currently I'm working in a management consultancy firm. So my company is doing testing, inspection, and certifications. So we're helping the company's business to improve their performance in terms of their safety and quality and also environment. So basically my jobs daily routines involve a lot of communications with clients and different stakeholders. So yes, during my secondary school, I was actually studying science. So I'm actually thinking I will become a doctor or probably engineers in the future. But after that, when I grew up, I realized that actually and really enjoys like meeting with people and talking with people. So I changed my studies, which I decided to have my Bachelor of Degree in Commerce in Curtin, Malaysia. So yeah, so which I turned it what I'm working right now as an office lady, working as a sales and marketing roles and meeting a lot of people basically every day. It's all people, all kind of words. Yeah.
Is that the job you're looking for?
I could say yes, I enjoy my work right now, talking
Okay.
with people.
Okay, so how about me?
So currently right now I'm working as a process engineer for the manufacturing plant. So pretty much day-to-day role is more towards internal stakeholders. So what I normally work with the team is we work with different functions from production, quality control, um, and various functions within the supply chain. So whenever there's a problem involving with the production or products coming out or customer complaint, I work with the plant managers and other stakeholders and like the workers from the shop floor or the maintenance crew to work to find out those problems, and we find a solution and we implement them. So it's pretty hands-on. I think as a person who's always intrigued about chemistry and science, I think for this stage in my career, I think it's a pretty good job I'm having at the moment. It allows me to learn a lot and apply the skills that I had in uni now into the practical world.
What about you, Araf?
Well, I'd say I love my job. Yes, I think I think I thrive on talking to people. Like this is something I truly love, right? Debating MUNs throughout university, it had a huge part in my people skills. I was an accounting major, but then I moved drastically to sales. And the thing about sales is you don't have a course on sales. You need to learn it as you go, right? Because there's
We do
nothing
have a
about
sales course.
in university you don't really get that, right? So for me, what happened was I'm working as a business development manager in Sales Candy. So what we do is we are helping companies in different verticals, real estate, education, so on, to lower down response time. So I had the sales team for Malaysia here, and as well as a few other countries where I do the closing law as well as all the lead. It's the same stuff as what Lik Fang is doing, but on same level, yeah.
You even have the slang here already. Okay, why did you guys choose? Sorry.
Yeah. Since everyone of you love your job, right? So how about the country you're working in? You're all not working in your home country, right? Yeah, that's what we want to know. So yeah, maybe with Araf first. So yeah, you're in Malaysia, right?
Yeah.
So how do you feel about Malaysia? Do we welcome you? Do you feel welcome here?
Dude, everybody thinks I'm local now. Dude, nobody ever thinks I'm Bangladeshi. Everybody thinks I'm either Malay or I'm Indian, so on and so forth. But I've been here for around 7 years now, so it's like I'm so synced with the culture. So the only sad part is I still can't speak Malay. So
what's your favorite food?
My food here would be I really like nasi kandar, yeah. And there's this thing in Penang. They have this miso thong, right? So which is like very, very tasty. So I actually drive 6 hours all the way to go get it.
What's the thing you like the best in Malaysia?
Yeah.
What is the thing you like the best in Malaysia?
Best in Malaysia, I like the culture. I'd say yes. I think Malaysia has given me the opportunity to encounter and interact with so many different people from so many different backgrounds. So at the end of the day, when you are doing what I do, I need to know how people act. I need to understand how people behave, body language, what's so on and so forth. So at the end of the day, the fact that I'm in Malaysia, the fact that I was in Curtin, and I've met so many people and I can understand and read people pretty well, I'd say, body language, so on and so forth, that has helped a lot. And I think the culture was amazing so far, and I'm really looking forward to the coming years.
Okay, so how about me?
Thanks, Julius. So I'm in Australia. I'm in Brisbane right now in Queensland. I guess I was always pulled towards Australia because my parents are both students in Australia. My dad and my mom both spent some time studying in Curtin in Perth. So I guess me going to another institution under the Curtin brand name was kind of set up. And when I graduated, my parents had plans on moving to Australia, so I thought of following them here as well, and so far it's pretty good. I think studying in a multicultural campus like in Miri really helped me to integrate well into Australia as well, and it's been pretty good so far.
So how about Lik Fang? Where are you now?
So I'm currently in Singapore, which is very near to Malaysia. So, okay, that's a reason why I choose to work in Singapore as well, because I was born in Johor. So, Singapore and Johor is super near. So that's one of the reasons I choose to work in Singapore. And also, the second thing is also the cultures and language in Singapore. It's a lot of similar to Malaysia, so that I won't feel homesick when I'm always in a foreign country, but I still can go back to my hometown very easily. And of course, the most attractive part is also the salary in Singapore. So that's one of the factors why I choose to work in this country as well. Yes.
So a friendly reminder for all the ones who are watching this video. So you guys, if you have any questions, you can type in the comment and we will ask all the panelists later. So, okay. Now, I think everyone is more curious. I know everyone wants to know how you work in other countries. But before we start all that, I think one more important thing is how you land a job in a foreign country, right? So for us who, I mean, I'm Malaysian and I study in Malaysia and I'm working in Malaysia. So for me, getting a job is quite natural process. So I guess it's somehow quite different because uh, for a foreigner who are working in want to find a job in another country, right? Maybe they have some kind of obstacle. So now, maybe since Malaysia and Singapore is the nearest, so maybe why not Lifang, you share how is the whole job hunting?
Yeah. Is it hard and difficult?
I would say the job searching process is always challenging and disappointing. You know, you have to go through the process, you submit all your resumes, and actually
That's
you
quite
wait
new for
until
everyone.
yeah, after you submit it and you wait for days and 2 days and there's no response from the recruiter and you feel sad about it. But I think that's normal. That's a normal process to everyone who want to land a first job. So before I land my job in Singapore, I also do the same. I submit my resume in all the job portal. So I went through a few interview as well. So it's either because it's nearby to Johor, so I actually travel down to Singapore to have a physical interview with all the companies. So I actually lucky enough to get my current job because I was referred by my friends who working in the recruitment firms. They actually refer me to my current employer. So I've been through all the process and yes, I get this job.
Okay.
Not so much
So,
hassle. Still okay.
okay. Yeah. So maybe a question because is this all your first job? I mean, for all of you, is this your first job or this is not your first job?
Second for me.
For Araf, it's second job. Oh, I mean, it's third job. Okay.
Third job.
So
First
is all
job.
in Australia or this is the one in Australia? Maybe you can share with your
Um,
experience.
Thanks, Julius. So this is my third job in Australia. The first job that I got here was actually working first for just in a takeaway shop in Australia, in where we first moved into. So that time when I first came, I just needed some pocket money, and decided to just get out and just work in hospitality for a bit and get to know myself, because I think in Australia, in Malaysia, and back in my hometown, we speak a different set of English. So I wanted to go to work in a person-facing role, so I can learn the Australian slangs and all of the language part of it. And then the second one I got was a short stint with a herbicide and a pesticide plant. And then after that, I landed my role now in the manufacturing plant. And I think I link back to a bit with Lik Fang's story as well as to referral. So I got interviewed first for a sales position for my current company, but I didn't got the job. But at the same time, I met with my current manager at another event, and I casually mentioned to him that I'm interviewing for a sales position. So when I failed the interview, I called him and said I failed, and he said, "Why don't you pop in a couple of weeks later and we show you the plant tour?" And then towards the end of the plant tour, he asked if I wanted to work for the company, and I guess that's the power of networking and referral that Lik Fang did mention about before. So that's my story here.
Okay, what about you, Ara?
Okay, so I think, to be honest, in Malaysia, as an expat and a fresh graduate, entry level jobs are super difficult. It is, you need to be a superstar, and I was not a superstar. Okay, whenever anybody, any of the newcomers, the new juniors, whoever joins, whoever comes to me, and they're like, "Hey, dude, what did you do? What can I do?" I always have one recommendation that I tell everybody. I'm like, you can't really expect yourself to just go out there and get a job within the small amount of time that you have after graduation, and by the time you leave the country because your visa's expired, right? So the thing that you need to do is look for internships. This is one thing I highly focus on at all times. I've told everybody, look for internships, because that's what I did. Because you see, for a company to value you, to see your potential as an expat itself, which I am, they need to see what you are able to do first, rather than just handing you a job in the first place, because it's very risky, and for them as well, because there are a lot of additional expenses along with your hiring, right? So therefore, what I did was I joined a Japanese company first. right after I finished Curtin. So the culture shock was crazy, right? So they actually during my internship itself, they were like, "Arif, we're not going to hire you." So,
Okay.
but later, 2 months down the line, right before I was about to go back, they're like, "Hey, Arif, we want to hire you." I was like, "Okay, what did I do wrong?" I'm like, "Okay."
What did you do wrong?
So I joined my internships. I worked there for a year, and then I think me, Min, Lik Fang all have the same story at the end, where reference and networking is super important. So I networked my way through. I got to meet the CEO of the company I work in, worked my way around, and I am where I am today. So at the end of the day, you need to keep on talking to people, or else you will be left behind.
Okay. So what are your unique experience, like interesting experience that you had working in foreign country? I'm pretty sure all of you guys have like unique experience, interesting.
Okay, all right. I'll go first. So I guess one of the most unique experiences was my first company, right? So one of the reasons why they decided not to hire me is they're Japanese. So they're very punctual when it comes to every single thing. So you can't leave the office before 6. So I clocked out at 5:59. so I think that experience of you're not leaving work 1 minute before when you're working in a Japanese firm, you need to be mentally prepared.
Sure.
And I think another unique experience would be adapting to multiple people from different backgrounds, because you never know what triggers somebody and what does not trigger somebody, right? So it eventually led me to talk less, think more. Yeah.
Okay, what about
Okay.
you, Lik Fang?
Okay, so for me, the unique experience, I would say probably working in Singapore, but you feel like you are in Malaysia, because there's a lot of Malaysia that travels to Singapore to work. As you know, this is a trend right now. So you will realize that when you are working in a company, but there's a lot of Malaysians all around the world. So I think that's one of the unique.
How many Malaysian in the company?
I would say
How many
50%
Malaysian?
is Malaysia though.
50%? Half
Yeah,
of it?
So all my colleagues, I was like, when I entered your company, I was like, wow, I'm so scared. And I asked, where are you from? I'm in Malaysia. Then I asked my manager, also from Malaysia. So,
Oh.
most of them are Malaysia. So you realize, am I working in Singapore right now? Yeah, that's the thing. But the thing is, working in Singapore, not much different than Malaysia. So likewise, we all are very flexible for our company, as long as you get the job done. So we are more flexible on it. So on the working wise, apart from this, I feel it's quite normal to Malaysia. But I found a very interesting culture in Singapore. I'm not sure whether you guys know or not. The power of tissue. In Malaysia, we have the power of hand.
Yeah.
And in Singapore, we have this so-called the power of tissue.
Okay.
So everywhere, especially when you go lunch, that it's so many people and you have to hold a seat. So what we always do is we put a tissue and place on the table. So that means that seat is reserved by you. I think that is more even powerful than putting a reserve sign though. You putting a tissue over there means that seat is yours. So you can get a food, after that you can get back to your seats. Sorry?
Have you tried with the reserve sign yet? Did you actually bring a reserve sign around?
No. But I know the tissue is very powerful. So that's the things I found very interesting. So if you travel to Singapore, you realize there's tissue on the table. So you don't think that's free and you take it out. I tell you, that's for people who reserve the seats. Don't take it out, please.
And always carry
How about me?
Sorry?
I guess because you're from Vietnam and now you're in Australia, right? Both are culture shock for us who are watching this video, most likely. So, yeah. Do you want to share your experience?
Yeah, thanks. I think from my perspective, what I found about the working culture in Australia is you show up, you put 100% of your time in, but I think that they have a much more relaxed culture when it comes to the office. I'm not sure if it applies for all of the workplace, but I feel that in Australia there's a strong sense of togetherness, a strong sense of you treat everyone equal and the same. There's a strong protection in terms of workers' rights and unions. So I feel that studying in Vietnam and Malaysia, where I feel you always have to push yourself hard because everyone is running against deadline. Like I remember back in uni, whenever the deadline is like on Friday, I'll like stay the whole night in the ICT lab doing my work. But I feel a bit more room to breathe when I move over to Australia because there's not that stress of, oh, you got to get this done at all costs. I feel that people factor in much more things, and work and life balance seems to be better for me. Also, I never realized that there's a lot of different cultures within Australia, and even people from other islands coming in to work into Australia as well. So it's quite eye-opening. But I think the most for me would be in terms of the working culture. I think coming from more predominantly Asian culture and background, we always push ourselves very hard in terms of work and study. And when I come to Australia, I feel like, oh, there's a bit of breathing room. I'm not being asked to do overnight to finish a task. So yeah, that's a pretty good thing for me.
Okay. So a friendly reminder here, everyone, please hashtag Curtin Malaysia and share it. Make sure your post is public so that we can see you, or else if you just keep typing hashtag Curtin Malaysia in the private room, we won't know you are actually sharing it, okay? So, yeah. So, okay. And another thing is, remember to ask a question. If you have any question you wish to ask our panelists or anyone here, you can just drop it at the comment and we will ask at the end of the session. Okay. Since you guys are foreigner, right? Do you think you guys have advantages or disadvantages when you're working in other companies? I mean, Big Fang is kind of like a half local there since your company is kind of like half Malaysian. So, is there anything you do? You're kind of like having advantages, or you are actually kind of like cannot people compare you differently when you are there.
Okay, so maybe for my case, because in Singapore and Malaysia, we share the same language, similar language. So I think that's one of the biggest advantage, especially for my role. I have to talk to people all around the world. So with the language, so I'm able to speak English and Malay and Chinese to cater to the different customers. I think that will be one of the advantage because you have not these language barriers. You're able to understand the people's and or body language and all. So talking into the disadvantage, I would say perhaps in Singapore, the government actually prioritize a lot of opportunity to the locals and the foreigner. So in terms on the opportunities, it's actually quite competitive if you choose to working in Singapore. So I think that's one of the factors you may consider if you choose to work in a foreign countries. It's where the governments actually prioritize their locals lah. So you have to stand out in order to get a job in the country. Yes.
Okay.
So how about me?
I think in the context of Australia, I think in terms of the advantage that you have is I think that in Australia, there's a lot of company that push for diversity within the company. I think, and it might even be correct for other countries that our viewers are looking forward as well, is because I think company now recognize that when you have a more diverse workforce in terms of nationality, religion, gender, and ethnicity, they are able to bring more to the table, and therefore you have an access to a bigger information when you want to solve a problem. So I think that's the advantage. So I think disadvantage in terms of Australia, I think is that a lot of companies would only hire you if you are a permanent resident or if you are a citizen. So I think in terms of the working rights and the visa, that might be a challenge when it comes to working in Australia. And just linking back before, when I got my job now, I don't have my permanent residence or my citizenship yet. So the way to work around it is that if you have networking and you have references, they can be able to vouch for you. So I feel that's a disadvantage when you work in a foreign country with strong migration and visa law, is that you have to work around that to get your job. So I think from Australia, that would be the context.
How about Ara?
All right. So I think at Sales Candy, we have around 10 to 12 nationalities within the company itself. So there are so many people, and the added value from my end is that I know a lot of languages. All right, so I can speak around 5 languages. So therefore, yes,
Wow.
at the end of the day, for my firm, as they're growing to different regions throughout Southeast Asia, that's where the added value that I bring in, because I can speak the languages itself. So regardless of my nationality. So at the end of the day, I think one core value from Curtin that really helped me out when I started working in my current firm was the interaction with different cultures. And it has really helped me to adapt to my work life too, because I'm meeting people from so many places, man. Legit. All right.
Okay. Okay, since like you guys already have like this work experience behind you, how do you feel right now, like compared to back when you were fresh graduate? You know, because I'm a student, I'm still a student, and I'll be graduating soon, so I'm kind of nervous about this whole process thing.
You will see it. They're just in front of you.
Right. I'd say from my end is that I feel smarter after starting working. Yeah, I feel much more intelligent because at the end of the day, when you're in university, you meet people who are studying the same things as you are. We're talking about the same things as you are, but as you grow older and you meet people from different backgrounds, different companies, like they will teach you, like I have like a lot of mentors, right? So they'll also be one thing, Arif, read this book, read that book, read this book, which is something I would never heard in university. None of my friends would tell me, Arif, read this book, right? So at the end of the day, I think I feel much more intelligent compared to how I was because of the more exposure that I've gotten from different backgrounds as well. Yeah.
So,
Okay. Okay,
you want to go first?
So maybe me, I would say, because I just graduated for 2 years, I would say compare back then, I actually don't like to speak in front of people. So, you tend to be nervous when you speak in front of people, especially it's those know it's not your friends. So working in the sales and marketing role, I have to talk with all kind of people. So actually right now I've become more confident in terms of like talking with them and negotiating the contract and understands what their needs. Back then when I started my job, I was so panicked when I talked to people. I always follow my seniors. I don't dare to go by my own because I'm so scared of that. Because I scared I screw up the whole project, so I don't dare to try. I just want to follow my seniors. But right now, after with the experience, so I get to close the deal by my own, and I dare to handle the projects by myself already. So I think that's what the experience had grown me and make me more confident. Yeah.
Learning to be more independent in a sense, right?
Yeah. You have to be independent.
Okay. So how about me? What kind of change you see in yourself?
I think when I first graduated and then moving to a foreign country for the first time, I think like when I came to Australia, I was kind of afraid. I was like, in these jobs that they advertise, they ask for so many things that you have to know, even for a graduate. And you tend to feel a bit lost and a bit drowned because you're not sure where to start and how to start from it. And even I think to myself, like, even if I get lucky and I get this job, how do I perform all of this? Because I don't have that much working experience. But after 3 years working, I feel that the key to overcome that is to ask the question. And I think my employers encourage me to ask questions when I don't know certain things. Like when you're a fresh graduate and they take you in, I think each company always plan for the first 3 to 6 months. You would be someone that they have to coach and train all the time before you are independent or partly independent enough to work on your own. So the key at that time is that you're allowed to ask questions and ask as much question as you can. And then it should be something that I still do from in this time as well. Like whenever I come across a problem that I'm not aware of, I'm not afraid to ask other people in the company to help me out. It's because after working 3 years, you also recognize that even people who are working without formally qualification like yourself, they have a lot of on-the-job experience that you need their practical experience combining with your theoretical and university-based knowledge to solve a problem. So I think it's about asking questions and not being afraid to ask those questions to the people in the company.
I think that's kind of like an Asian culture, right? The Asian normally don't dare to ask in uni when lecturer say, "Who have a question?" and then you'll be quiet, like.
Yeah. I think it's
amazing.
definitely important because I think at the workplace, in my experience, what I saw was that if they show you how to do something and they ask you, so can you do this? If you don't ask anything back, they're gonna assume you're good to go and you're gonna do it by yourself. So
Yeah.
if you have any doubt in your mind, just ask them. And
Just
I
ask
think
first.
most of your boss would be more than happy to explain it to you again, so just so that you can get it right, rather than doing it wrong
Yeah.
and then having to fix the problem. Yeah.
Okay, so what advice and tips can you give for those who wish to follow the similar paths, working abroad, for people like me?
Any mean
Oh.
first? Yeah.
I think in terms of working abroad, I think the practical thing is for the country that you choose to go to, I think you gotta be sure about what are the requirements and paperwork when it comes to migrating there in terms of work rights and all those stuff. I think that's the most important thing. And then the other one question would be, I think based on your background and your financial status, will you be able to support yourself maybe in the first 1 or 2 years if you don't have a full-time gig that you're dreaming of? Like, do you have enough funds in terms of financial funding, and do you have the I guess the inner strength to go to a couple of first rough year when you go there before you can land something that you like? So I think just a preparation phase for that.
Okay.
So how about Araf?
Well, from my
Or
end,
want to follow your path? Like
so-
come to study in maybe Malaysia and then in the end maybe stay in Malaysia.
so like for me, I'd say that two things that everybody should take note of. One is self-reflection. That is one thing I've been working on quite a bit throughout the last 2 years, where I would have encounters with different colleagues, where I would have different problem-solving issues, probably feedback sessions, and I would always come back home and spend 15 minutes on myself, just thinking about what just happened. Right? Was I at the right? Was I at the wrong? Figure that out. And once you can self-reflect on yourself better, that is something people do not invest in, on thinking about whether they're doing the right thing or not, and rather than just following their gut feeling, right? So that's one thing I always do. Another thing is be ready to take constructive criticism. Reason is, like, I'll be honest, Min, he has roasted me throughout my whole university life, right? but to be honest, he made me much stronger. So thank you, man. So basically, the reason why I say this is because when I joined university, I was not the best debater. I'm still not the best debater, but I like to interact with different things, right? So I like to be involved in multiple things where I would learn different things from different people. So the only advice from me, the last bit would be always listen to what other people have to say, reflect on it, and see if you can be better than what you did 15 minutes ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how about Lisa?
I would say for my advice, right, because I'm quite new to the working industry, I would say I super agree with what Min it said. Don't be afraid to ask. Actually, it's a very good opportunity for you. Don't be shy. Like you feel like you will feel offensive, like asking questions to your senior managers. I mean, that's what I would encourage people to always ask questions. It's better you ask before you make any mistake, especially in the working world, right? Once you make the error, it's going to be a big mistake. So it's better you ask and also seek advice from others. Another thing is practice make perfect is also one of the important things I always say to myself, because maybe when you just started the works, you are not familiar with the scopes of everything. You may be not so confident with it, but it's okay. Just keep doing it. Don't be sad about it or lose your confidence. Just keep practicing it. Yeah. Don't be afraid of failure. Like I tell you, it's very normal. Especially my job is doing sales. Sometimes you may lose your job, lost the deal to other. That's okay. You can discuss with your team what it will be the what's factor you lose that deal, and you just keep it up and make it better in your next deal. So you'll be better. Don't be afraid of that.
Wait, Likpang, you're actually
We couldn't hear it.
It's all right. Maybe,
I think like it's her internet. Yeah.
that's something to do with the internet, but it's okay. So
Yeah. It's okay.
so now I mean, in the time of pandemic, right? We are talking about working abroad, but a lot of countries actually close their border. So one easy question is it still possible to find a job in the country you're currently working in as an expat?
I think
Maybe,
I think in Australia,
how is the situation now?
I think by how things are, I think the government are quite skeptical in terms of opening up the borders very soon. I have heard of cases of people getting jobs, like people from other countries getting job in Australia, but they have to somehow work out a work from home arrangement before you are allowed to fly back into the country.
Okay.
So I think it's a very fluid and moving situation. But my hopes would be by next year things would be opening up. So I think for people who are watching this and you're still looking to apply for jobs in Australia, we can all concede that it will be much more harder applying offshore. But I think you can still give it a try because if a job is advertised and looking for international candidates, it means that they can't find a suitable candidate within the country, and that's why they're looking for resources. So I think it's best if you want to look for jobs in Australia, I think it's best if you contact an agent to understand about moving there in terms of the law. And I think for people who have skills in very niche area, I think you still have a very, very big chance to go into Australia to get jobs because there's a lot of field in terms of computer science and data and manufacturing that's lacking in Australia. So I think there would still be opportunities. Obviously, the competition will be much more fierce at the moment. And because COVID is a fluid situation, the borders opening up or not would still be an unknown factor in that. And I can't really give a comment on that depending on when the borders would be open.
How about Ara? Can foreigner come into Malaysia now?
Oh, you should know, man. Too. But I think in Malaysia, for expats to get a job is highly difficult. And for during this pandemic itself, it is much more difficult because I've known a lot of people who were laid off. They had to go back to their home countries during this pandemic. And I think I'm one of the blessed ones to have the ability to stay. And the thing is, at the moment for this year itself, it is literally impossible. They're not going to make any new hires. However, like Min mentioned, it might be better next year. But at the end of the day, regardless of immigration rules and so on, the only thing that I personally always tell people is build yourself up to the point where you're indispensable. So regardless of pandemic or not, earthquake or not, you'll be there. As long as you provide value to wherever you are. So at the end of the day, yeah, I think that's the one thing you need to fix at the moment.
Okay, so how about Li Fang? Can we go into Malaysia now? Can we go into Singapore now?
Singapore. I would say this pandemic has actually impacted the economic globally. Doesn't matter on everywhere you are. So actually, the job market is super competitive right now. It's still possible for you to land a job in Singapore, but you don't assume it will be normal because it's quite difficult. I heard from my friends, they get the job, but it's very hard for them to get the pass approved from the Ministry of Manpower. So, but I think that's okay because COVID right now maybe can give you a chance to maybe build up more skills on yourself. You know, right now everyone's in the job market have a degree. So maybe you can think of any way to build up your skills, attending any courses that make you different. So when the situation's economy get better, right? Anytime you can submit a resume to all countries. Yeah, then you can just go to your dream country and start your work.
Okay. So did being a Curtin student help in your past or present job? Like, you know, the knowledge and skill that you have during when you're a student, did you use them? Did they help you in your past and present job? Yeah.
Right.
I don't
Okay.
you can answer first. You seem like you have a lot to say.
I'd love to share. All right.
So basically, I would say in terms of knowledge and skills, it's about how you define it, right? So for me, I was studying accounting, yes, but I'm not working on accounting, yes, too, right? So at the end of the day, whatever I learned from accounting itself, being the textbook subject that it is, it did not really help in my skills in the workforce. However, the beauty about Curtin is that it's not only limited to the subject itself. There's so much more out there, and I think that is where codes, Curtin, the Rocket Debating Society, and the MUNs really came in handy. And can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yes,
So
very
that's
clear.
where that really came in handy, right? So one thing that I've noticed that fresh graduates tend to not do is they enter universities and they see multiple activities. But at the end of the day, the focus for them does not end up being in the educational forms. They end up going for sports, so on and so forth, which is fine. But at the end of the day, balancing out in studies, educational activities, and sporting activities is where you can get the utmost exposure when it comes to figuring out what skills you want in the work life. So yes, I think it was a balance of extracurriculars and university curricular, which helped me be where I am. Yeah.
Okay. So how about you?
I think
Help
for
whatever you learn in uni.
I think I can only say for engineering. So I think that throughout the 5 years, I think whatever the course offered and the interaction I had and the coaching I had from the lectures was very useful. It gave me a good base to go to the workforce. But it all sums up to problem solving. I think the most key takeaway I got from uni was team working and how to work with a team I mean, like back in uni, it's just doing assignments or doing presentation and submitting those assignments and stuff. But throughout working with teams of different students from different background and different level of, I would say, hard workingness, if that's a word, you learn how to kind of manage yourself working in a team. And it's really important because I think when you go to a workplace, there's like 30% of people who are like you, and there's 30 of people who are just cruising, and then there's 30 people who are in the middle. So when you work, when you have difficulties
Everyone
and
agree with
challenge,
that.
so I think like when
life advice.
yeah, that's life. So when you have experience working in different teams in uni, it kind of prepares you to go to the workplace. So you know how to work with teams and work around things to get things done. I think that's the most important thing that I got, because there's so many assignments and stuff in uni, and you always don't get to pick your friends to be in the group with you, the people that you know how to work with the most. And when you have to work with a team of brand new people that have never talked before, it puts you in an uncomfortable position to get to know that person, to work well with them. And I think it's very important in the workplace as well, when you have to work with different people.
What about you, Lik Fang?
Okay, so speaking to my course, I'm actually a management and marketing student. The course is actually involve a lot of assessment. It's based on assignment and presentations instead of a final exam for our course. So we did a lot of presentations individually and groups. I think that's helped me a lot during especially for my roles, because it boosts up my confidence to talk to people, and also maybe during the presentations. Actually, what am I study, I actually able to apply during my interview. During my interview, I was asked to give a presentations with 10 minutes preparations to present on market a product. So I managed to apply my theory, which I studied during in Curtin, the 4P. I'm not sure whether you guys know. This is commerce studies. So that says 4 Ps, which we applied. I just think of this what I've been studying. So I applied it during my presentations, which I think I managed to present it well. So which helped me to also get a job, which I'm working right now.
Or apply what you learn in school in the real life.
Although
Yeah.
during your school, you won't think that maybe the theory you study, you will think that it's not applicable, but somehow it works. It gives you a knowledge.
Okay. So a quick question here. How long since you guys graduate? I mean, Big Fang is supposed to be 2 years, right?
Yes.
And Ara? 3 years?
I'm 3 years as well. Yep.
3 years as well. Okay.
What about you, Julius?
I'm
Julius.
6 years.
The most senior is Julius.
Yeah, so I'm the most senior here. So of course, after graduate, I do miss a lot about uni time, when you don't have to worry about everything, life is good, and then you don't have to work, and there's money coming in. So for you guys, I mean, what did you miss the most in uni life?
Minx.
I think Lik Fang is maybe the last one, to tell because you are the youngest here. So maybe Araf, yes, Araf,
Okay,
Minx.
you go first.
Minx Cafe.
Minx
Yeah,
Cafe
man,
for
like
sure.
that is like the second home in Miri, right?
Okay. So,
But I think but jokes apart, I think the one thing I miss about being in uni is friends law, because you see when you get out of uni and you
friends
go
lah. Oh, you really get that
Yeah.
Malaysia culture.
right. So you see, the thing is, when you're in university, you have a platform where you can meet people, right? Different classes, different countries, similar countries. You have a platform. But I think Lik Fang will be able to relate. Min will be able to relate. When we moved to different countries, we had the situation for sure where the platform was zero. We knew nobody. We knew nobody. We had to start from scratch about meeting every single person and building a connection with those people. So I think having the people in university and the friends we had, the good times we had, that is something I genuinely miss. Yeah. And
Okay.
Mix.
So what did you miss?
I think that,
Oh, I think Arab is missing you.
yeah, for sure.
Hey, dude. Yeah.
I think definitely the friends aspect that Araf brought up. I think the two others would be so in terms of timing and scheduling, right? Like back in uni, you can wake up late, go to sleep late, or do whatever you want as long as you get your job done. I think when you go to work, you kind of allocate a set of time to get the job done, especially for cases where I can't work from home. So I think that's one, and the other one that Araf brought up was pretty true as well in terms of networking and making friends when you're working. I think when you're in uni, you make friends based on how you truly think inside. Like if I like sport, I want to make friends with people who watch football and all that stuff. But when you go to, I'm not sure if it's true for our other two guests as well. But when you go out to the workplace, the friends you make and the connection you make, you kind of have to calculate in your mind, is that a beneficial friendship or relationship that you want to keep? Because you're spending about 40 hours a day a week already at work, which means that any time you spend to maintain any other connection has to come with a benefit. I mean, that's the way I see it. So you kind of don't have that big of a friend group anymore. And you kind of are more careful of the people you want to be friends with because you know that you're in a different stage already. So I think that the friendship you have in uni is much more, to me, I feel much more meaningful. It's the people that you have the same mind. Yep.
Bro.
What did you miss the most in Miri?
I think we three are the same. We miss the most. It's our friends and buddy in universities. All my friends, we all left back to. I think I don't even meet you in Curtin,
Ming Cafe, Ming Cafe.
Yeah, Mings. Okay, I won't say Mings lah. I won't been Mings so much time. I never meet. Maybe I went to T4 more than Mings.
Okay.
I have to say I go miss T4. Then I miss
Nadine now.
Yeah, I know. At the time when I think I'm still in Curtin's, I know that's T4 in Senadine areas, and also the foods in Mire. I meet the Pami. The Pami is one of the things I miss the most. Yeah, I see everyone.
Kind of strange. I don't know who miss the Pami, but anyway, I think
I know you did not miss the TR.
That's the things I miss. I was thinking to go back this year, but too bad that's a pandemic, so there's no graduation ceremonies, so I can't back to
next year.
Yeah, I miss it so much. Then back then the times when we setting out for the events and rushing the assignments with the friends, I think that's the best moment I have during my university times. You have a teams with you and all that. Especially right now, we all working in a foreign country, so we hardly meet each other. Back then we always meet each other every day, but right now it's like maybe once a year, or even we can only see each other in the social media platforms. That's I miss the university life lah. So when you enter to adult, right, you're working adult life, so-called this is the things you will miss the most.
Okay. Yeah. So we see a lot of people actually leaving questions in the comment. But before that, we would like to remind everyone to hashtag Curtin Malaysia and share the post and share the video in the public. So because this might be, I mean, there's still, I think 30 to 30 minutes more when when the time we announce the last winner. So this might be the last time for you to share. Okay. So since we have all the questions coming from the comments, first we would like to ask. I think this is from. Uh, okay. So there's one comment there asking, when you work abroad in a foreign country, do you face discrimination in terms of racism or being aware of it? Do you still raise it? Any solutions? So maybe we start with Lee Fang, since you work in a Malaysian company in a sense, right? I don't think you feel strong about that.
I think for me, it's working in Singapore. We don't face much on this issue, so-called the discrimination, because Singapore is also made up of a diversified culture. So not much difference so far. I don't think we have this issue lah for my countries and working in Singapore. I don't think they have it.
Okay.
I'm not sure whether
So,
the rest.
so how about Arab? I
Well,
think
I
in
would
Malaysia.
look at your face.
Yeah, I'm not sure in
The way you
Malaysia.
talk, man.
He's a Malaysian now.
So I
Yeah.
think within my company itself, it was amazing, no problem. However, there were slight issues, whatever, because I'm meeting a lot of clients, right? So I'm meeting so many different people. So there are, of course, a few who would rather speak to a Chinese person, would want to speak to a Chinese person, and so on, right? In such cases, there were some, but they were very subtle. But at the end of the day, I figured what you know, who you are, and what you say eventually omit whatever they think about you. So talk smart, and they will think highly of you as well. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter how you look like, what your skin color is, as long as you know what you're talking about. Nobody will be able to have any sort of discrimination towards you.
That's
Yeah.
true.
How about me? Did you do that in Australia?
I think at my current workplace and all the place that I worked at, I don't think that I'm aware of and I came across any cases of discrimination. But I think definitely in outside interaction with other members of the public, I think there was a couple of occasions when things did happen. But to me, I kind of look at it as like, if you don't pose a physical threat to me, whatever comments you make, it's by yourself, and I don't really mind it. It's because instead of being angry or wanting to have an argument with that person, I feel that my energy is best spent if I just walk away from it. I think if to me, I feel that if you are determined to move to another country, I mean, I'm not sure if it's a bad thing to say, but you kind of have to expect that people, if they see you speaking with a slightly different English in terms of accent, or if you look different, there would be certain skeptical view going towards you. So to me, it's either you toughen up and you take it as you go and you ignore it, because you are moving to uncharted territory. But in cases, if it happens at the workplace, I feel that if you communicate that problem with your employer or the HR department, I think it would get solved. I think a lot of companies now, especially in this days and age, they don't want to have any cases of discrimination happening in the company. So I think in life, definitely yes, but in working place, shouldn't happen, and I don't think any place it's happening.
Okay.
Okay, so for the next question, it is by Veronica Lin. So Veronica asked, how did you prepare yourself before your first leap into working abroad? So anyone want to go first?
Maybe the one who have a lot to share, Arab?
Saw that coming. I think from my end, how I prepared for it, I didn't. To be honest, I don't think you can. You can't prepare for it, because at the end of the day, when you're going somewhere new, you don't know what to expect. So what are you going to prepare for anyways? You know what I mean? For me, it was different compared to the other two, because I'm still in Malaysia after 6 years. But at the end of the day, when I moved to KL, I didn't know what to expect, and as I didn't know what to expect, I couldn't prepare for anything. So I tend to just go with the flow and see whatever comes my way.
What
So
about you, Lek Fang?
I would say maybe it's for your mentally. You have to prepare yourself because it's going to be a foreign country which you are not a native of the country. So the mentals have to be strong because as you know, the country you're going to go for, there's a lot of people from other country as well who will actually compete with you for the same job. So you have to be mentally strong with it and also equip yourself with more the skills on you have. You know, as you know, the markets right now is super competitive. How do you stand out from the others amongst of the pool of candidates? Just now, Araf had mentioned about internship, which I feel it's also a good experience also to build up your resume because you have a work experience with the internships. Also, the job, the recruiters and also the company they actually look into it. So I think that's the things you can prepare before you decided to working abroad.
Um,
What about Min?
I think I share both of the points mentioned by Araf and Lik Fang. So I didn't really prepare as well. One day, my family just said we're moving to Australia, and I said, okay, I'll go with it. But um, I think in terms of
Who's gonna say no?
but I think in terms of what Lik Fang mentioned, I definitely think it's important. I think it's a mentally part. I think if you finish your degree and you go back to your home country, you are a more advantaged player in that field in terms of finding jobs because you have a foreign degree and you can speak English. But if you go to another country, then you have to compete with native people there and other people going into the country like you. So, in my experience, when I was still working in the hospitality jobs, there was about a period of 3 to 4 months where I think every month I would send applications every day and get rejected. And having that mental um, strength
Strength.
in you and having a good support system is really crucial because when you're in a new country, it's going to be tough. So I think the mental part is really important. And I think if you're really determined to go to another country and work, I think that mental part is crucial because I've come across with a few cases before where people could not take the heat and they decided to go home. I wouldn't say it's right or wrong, but all I'm sharing is that if you decide to go to a foreign country, there's a lot of mental game that you have to put on to survive and get a job.
So one quick question: do you think learning one foreign language helps? But since you all are in English speaking country right now working in, so I guess that shouldn't make too much difference. But did you see like Vietnamese help you in your job or?
Um, my company, the working language is in English, so Vietnamese doesn't really help, but it does help me because there's like a few Vietnamese community within Australia, and I generally can get my food from there. Um, I wouldn't say
So
that.
it's only using for ordering food.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
I think in terms of learning a new language, at my workplace, there's a lot of Samoans, Tongan, and people coming from the other smaller island coming into Australia. I wouldn't say that I can speak all of the language, but I did ask them to teach me a couple of phrases like hello and how are you. I feel that when you're able to say those basic simple terms, you create a better bonding with the guys. And when they see like an Asian looking dude be able to at least say hi, how are you and stuff and bring some bad words. Like even when I was in Malaysia, I asked my Indian, Chinese, Malay friend to teach me some bad words.
Oh my god.
Some bad words.
A lot of bad words.
Yeah, the bad influence. We also teach the bad words.
So I feel like when you take your time out to at least learn those like basic phrases and the naughty words and to stay with friends, I think you're able to have a better bonding and connecting with that person. So I don't think you have to speak another language fluently, but at least know a couple of phrases so that you can stand out from the crowd with them. I think it's pretty good.
Very important thing mentioned by me, right? Is actually learning one more foreign language can help you to bridge, like bring people closer. So that's actually related with the third questions people asking in the comment section is so the question is from Tendai Mitri. So how did you build your network as international working in foreign country? Because like you guys mentioned, right, in 13 what you miss the most is you don't really need the platform to know people because everyone's around you can be your friend. But since you guys moving to other countries, so I mean, how did you build your network as an international person? So maybe we start with Arab first.
Um,
Yeah, since
Dude,
I think
come on,
you
it's like I'm being attacked at the moment.
right?
You
So
go
I
first.
think I think for me, what I did was there are a few mediums on how you can get to know people in Malaysia itself. My answer will be Malaysia focused. So there are apps such as Internations, all right? So where all the expats, they get together, they meet up together, they have groupings and so on, right? So that is one. Secondly, what I did was I kept on, I had to, you see, when you're networking in a foreign country without being there for a long time, you need to be ready to spend money. So you need to invest in networking. So networking is not free. You have to keep that in mind. You need to make sure that, okay, you want to get to know people, you want to grab a drink with them, whatever it is. You need to spend money because at the end of the day, if you don't invest in this, it will not give you any returns. And that is, to be honest, how I invested and got my second job as well. I networked, and so on and so forth. So invest, look around, talk to people, and the people that you know, get them to introduce you to other people. And that is how you.
So add him in Facebook, everyone. Those who's watching this video. On LinkedIn. Yeah. So how about Lekpa? How do you network as an international working in foreign country?
Maybe for me, I think the language is one of it because in Singapore they speak multi-language as well. So because I'm Malaysia, I also managed to speak multi-language, so I'm able to build a network with them. Likewise, working in a foreign countries, I would say in terms of the business network, I start from scratch as well, not knowing everyone. So I just decided to wanted to land a job in a foreign country. So I agree with what Araf said. So don't be shy to talk to people. You never know the person you are talking. They bring you opportunity in future. So sometimes during school you can just I don't want to talk, so I just keep myself keep my bonds all close small with my groups of friends. But in workings we actually will encourage you to talk more with all peoples. Just some of them, they may have a lot of life experience which also will motivate you and advise you in your career. So yeah, I think that's one of the important things I would say advice to people. Yeah, talk
Brave and
more
thick
with
skin.
people. Yeah,
Be
be
brave
thick
and
skin
thick
is
skin.
one. Yeah, I found that that's very important to be thick skin, to talk to people. Yeah, don't be shy. Don't close yourself in your own circles and step out from your comfort zone.
Where did you find those people? Like, at the taman or at the street side or
No,
there must be some place that you can meet those friends, right?
Oh, okay. Somehow you can join a lot because after works I did join a lot of classes like yoga classes or fitness classes. So that's where you meet people as well. Sometimes even in the restaurants, people queuing up for queuing. Maybe this is a popular foods in the town right now. People queuing up. You can
Nice,
start talking to people. Yeah.
Fighting
So
over the tissue.
yeah. Hey, how about this? You feel about this? How about the drinks?
brand
Because
better.
yeah, so this is all connection as well. You never
Small
know,
talk.
Sometimes, yeah, especially drinking, means is a good place, right? We meet, in Curtins, how to get to know people in Curtins is through means. Same go to the business world. I think drinking is also a good place for you to meet people, others from other industry or what. Yeah.
Okay. How about in Australia? Where do you meet people in Brisbane?
I think Brisbane, Australia. I think, like in my experience, I get to network mostly to LinkedIn. So mostly brush up your LinkedIn and reach out to people with similar interests. When I first came here and I started applying for jobs, I did networking quite the manual way. So, like for example, when I apply for a job, after I send the email, if that job posting had a person's name and a phone number, I'll just call the person and say, hey, I just submitted my application. Really looking forward to hear back from you. And just like they already posted when they're going to answer, but I just act dumb and I'll just ask, so when do you guys think you're going to proceed with the next stage? Because I think that out of maybe 10 people who send in a resume, only 1 or 2 would give that call. I'm not sure if any other students studying HR in the stream would see me as annoying, but the other way to network is that after I
Hey, call.
yeah,
Time,
and
you know,
yeah,
don't worry
and
about
then
that.
even if you get rejected in the first round, or even you go for an interview and you get rejected, I still call them and said, hey, I know I got rejected, but if there's any jobs lined up, or if you think that there's any other position suitable within the company, I'm still here and I'm still available. I know from a certain perspective, it sounds like you're desperate for a job, but within millions of people applying for jobs, you have to look visible and to the employers. So making those cold calls, to me, is a very effective way of networking as well. Or the simple one by just sending a thank you email to the interviewer after they interview you is some of the good way to stand out as well. So if they shortlist 20 people and 2 people send a thank you note, mentally in the interviewer head, they have your name there. So if your skills are pretty competitive, they might have an inclination to pick you because you're being nicer to them. So I think that's some of the way that you can network in a foreign country as well.
I'm taking notes now.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
You send a thank you letter, you know,
Yeah.
your name will stand out in that sense. Okay, so for those who just joined us, to remind you guys, I mean, just to make sure you all know what is happening, we are having a Q&A session with the panelists here. So they are all working in abroad. So, I mean, working not in their their home country. So if you have any questions, you can add in the comment and we will ask them now. Okay?
Yeah. So next question. Okay, what are the first 5 things that is important to deal with before embarking on this challenge of working abroad?
So just 5
I'm not
things.
starting this time.
5 things. 5 things
Okay.
is hard. I
Yeah,
think
5
everyone
things.
just pick
Okay.
one.
Okay,
Let's
maybe
try to-
One
maybe
each.
we can shorten it to 1 because if you have 5, the thing is not important, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah,
one
right.
thing, yeah.
Yeah.
So the most important thing to deal with before embarking on this challenge of working abroad.
Then
like,
this one I'll start
uh,
first.
Yeah. Okay. You start first. Don't tell us mentally prepared. Those like
I
we
had
already
the
talked
same
about
thing
it.
in mind. I swear to God.
Actually, to be honest, mentally it's really important, because if you decided to go for a foreign country, you can just say, okay, I just want to have a try. You must be, let's not say mentally, I would say be determined. Let's say you want to go for this goal, just go for it. So during the journeys, maybe there's some obstacle along the pathway, but that's okay. So if, let's say you have decided to go for it, I would say just keep trying, along the way. No matter how many resume you submitted or interview, that also strengthens your confidence, also master your skills, and also you will have opportunities, to review. Maybe this interview I could do it better for the next one. So who knows? Maybe the 3rd time or the 4th time you perform so well and you get your dream jobs. Opportunities comes from everywhere. Just to prepare for yourself. I think that's very important.
Okay. So next, maybe me. Don't. Okay. So mentally prepared is already taken. So
Okay.
gonna come up with the same thing.
I think for me, I would say I'll give a practical one. I think it's financial, and I'm not talking about rich and poor. I'm talking about in terms of your financial background of you and your family. Um, how long can you go sustaining yourself there? So let's say if you have a medium amount of fundings, that means that somewhere along the line, if you can't find a job in like your dream job, you would have to work in, and let's be honest, you got to work in cash in hand jobs, or not like something not in your field first, just to get job experience. What are the plans for that, and how do you know someone who's hiring in those kind of casual positions? So I think understanding your financial background and how much you are spending to migrate and work in other countries is really important.
How much we are suggesting? How many months to survive?
I think depending on the industry, I think in terms of engineering, I think if you graduate from Curtin University in engineering, to my understanding, all of the courses are accredited in Engineer Australia. So you don't have to do any extra courses. It's already counted as if you did a degree in Australia. So that's not a concern. I think engineering grads, you should look at least 6 months of applying for jobs. And if you don't have funds to extend for 6 months, you got to start investing in a car to do Uber Eats or Uber or any of those delivery, any jobs you can grab just to support your rent and your living expenses.
How about Ara?
Okay.
So we have mentally prepared and financially prepared. So what else we need to prepare?
This was like one of the questions I wish I went first, but I don't know why I did not.
Physical. I'll give you a hint.
Of
Physical.
course.
I think the one thing that personally really affected me when I moved to KL was my family. So I think you need to be ready to be away from them. Because at the end of the day, if you get
So you
homesick,
need to get your family prepared.
yeah,
You
so
know,
you got to
pack
prepare
all
your
their
family.
pictures. Pack all their pictures so you have all
Hey,
of
wait,
them
it's
around
right
you.
there. You see at the back,
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
That's
really,
cute.
you really did it. Okay.
right? So you see, I
Okay.
think being ready to be away from your family, making the greater sacrifice, or that you have left to do something bigger than you wanted to. I think that would be the one thing you need to be really ready for before embarking on the journey, to be away from the folks. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So okay, so this is for, I mean, so we need to pack our sentimental goods in the sense, those that pictures or something, and then you need to be financially prepared, and you also need to be mentally prepared. Yeah.
Yes.
So, okay, so when we talk about prepare, right? So we have actually one question from Jane. So she's asking, how did your Curtin degree help you in adapting to working in a foreign country? So in the main case, because you said the engineering courses all fully accredited in Australia, so you kind of like you don't have to do anything more,
Yep.
right? So that's how it prepare you for that.
Yep.
So is there any other thing you would like to mention, like other than the course structures and uh, what the degree help you in the sense?
I think in terms of engineering skills and just the core skill, I think it's pretty good. I think in terms of being an engineer, the core skills, I think the top three would be researching, problem solving, and team working. And I think all of them are pretty much covered in the Curtin degree. I think it's pretty good. And one thing I like, I just to phrase it back again on the fact that the Curtin degree in Malaysia is accredited, is that I have met with a lot of engineers like me who moved to this country, but they had to spend money to study extra courses because their degree is not certified, and therefore it's a couple of extra months to do an extra course. So I think that's one advantage already. And I think the other thing is that um, in my feeling, a lot of the question in terms of technical understanding of what I learned in Malaysia is very practical to be applied in Australia as well. It's a pretty international standard, so it pretty much helped. And most of the technology that we learn in our course are pretty much up to date with what the industry is having as well. So I think to me, I had a pretty good deal. I had an Australian degree with, I think, cheaper than studying in Malaysia and cheaper than studying in Australia in terms of both the study fee and the living costs. So for me, it's a pretty good deal that I had.
So how about Ara? This time you're not
You
the last.
have a smile on your face. So I think the perk of being in the business school, right, for Curtin, is that even though you're an accounting major, they build you up where they interact you with different units, economics, blah 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 blah. So from my end, as I reached the end of my accounting major, I was exposed to multiple other units and multiple other faculties, and that really helped because even though I did not pursue accounting per se, but utilizing the other subjects that I have been exposed to really helped when it comes to management, when it comes to marketing, when it comes to every little thing that I had to do so far, except for accounting. It really helped. So yeah.
Actually, I think the general topics, I mean, those that non-core unit is actually very
Yes.
helpful. I think a
Yes.
lot of us when we're studying, we will think like, we just want to care about our major. But actually,
Yeah.
the others units is very important as well. So make sure you got score on that. You score on that. So how about Likpa?
Okay, for I will say Curtin degrees will be like a passport for me to enter into a working adult life. some of the Curtin degree is internationally recognized. So we do have a branch in Singapore as well. So the people, they are aware on okay what is Curtin's. It's an international school, and one thing I would like to share also, Curtin's it's in an environment where everyone's around the world. That we all come from different world. Like we're from Vietnam's, we're from Kenya. So I have friends from Kenya, Bangladesh. This all during your studies in a university, right? It helps you to adapt quickly when it comes to a foreign country because you have been, always in the environment where people all around the world. You're talking with them, you share culture as well during when you make friends with them. All this, so so once you decided to land a job in foreign country, it's the adaptability. It's faster. So make you a lot let's say comfortable to working in a foreign country.
Okay, where did Araf go? It's okay.
Okay. Oh yeah, he's back.
He's back.
Still loading.
Hi.
He's back. Hi, Araf. Thanks for joining us. Okay. So,
Okay.
we have other questions here for the.
Let's see. It's from
And
Kwan.
when?
Hi,
Kwan,
Kwan.
when?
Hi, Kwan.
Kwan.
Kwan, when?
Everybody here knows Kwan.
Right?
Yeah, he's too popular. He's from Vietnam as well. I'm not sure Means know him or no.
I've met him back in a time, and the nickname is Rich Homie Kwan. So
And probably because of his expressions when he takes photos. Just look at his profile picture. He's had it throughout his entire life.
Okay.
It's my best buddy in university though.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the question he had for us is, what were the toughest barriers that you faced in your first job after graduating from Curtin? And how would you imagine it would be in the first place? How did it turn out to be? To Min, Araf, and Shushu? Is that your nickname?
Okay,
So
I
definitely
mean,
know you personally.
oh my god, so there's so many questions. Okay.
You can
Okay.
answer the first
Okay.
one.
So we just kind of like summarize it. So yeah, what is the toughest barrier? And on that time, every time when we have some problem, we'll be like, oh my god, this is the end of the world. But we know this is not. So
How do you face it? Like,
what is the problem in the beginning that you think you cannot actually overcome? But now it's just like kind of like, I'm kind of like over drama.
Yeah, I'm over it.
Yeah. So what is the problem actually?
I think for me, barriers would probably be the technical knowledge. I had two thoughts at time. One was I didn't know why I chose engineering, and two was I should have attended more classes because I remember my lecturer mentioning about this, but I didn't come to that lecture. So that's definitely some of the barriers there. When I imagined myself to become an engineer, I thought it's going to be very technical, very hands-on. You're working with just machines and chemicals and equipment and stuff like that. But I find that working with engineering, the large part of it is just people's management and dealing with people. Everyone in the company has something to offer, and I think it might apply to other streams as well. You are solving a sales problem, you are solving an accounting problem, or in my case, an engineering problem, but you need to be able to connect with people, connect with the resources within your companies or your settings to solve that problem. And I find it a much more enjoyable journey at the job once you recognize who are the expert knowledge of those things or who are the experienced worker in your company, and you ask them for help and mentor you along the way. And you get to learn much more different things, not just about engineering, but also about career-wise and even with dealing with stuff happening in the office. So for me, it's quite an eye-opening experience.
In the end, all problem is people problem.
Yep, most of the time.
Yeah. Okay. So how about dun, 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 dun. Okay, I'll pick Lick on this time. No, not you.
Okay.
How about
Let me
Shushu?
Shushu, okay, let me answer his first questions. I think the toughest barrier is without him at my side though. Yeah.
Oh.
I think you need to do this right now.
Is this a proposal?
To him, because we actually in the same course, so we do a lot of group assignments together. So when I first, had to start my first job, I only me, myself, and I. So I have to be independent to solve the issue by my own. In an office that's all everyone's, they don't know you. So sometimes when you face any issues, you don't dare to speak out. So you things to be mentally broke down. You are so stressed on it, and that's deadline approaching, and you're so stressed, and no one's had to talk. That's one of the barriers I face to deal with the peoples and when there's issue coming up. And how would you imagine it would be in the first place? Okay, so after I graduated, actually I imagine myself working as an office lady. Office lady is so cool, dressing up pretty, makeups, go to the office, and after that you can have a high tea with your friends during weekends. Okay, so yeah, which is what I'm doing right now. So I'm pretty enjoying about it. So
Oh.
yeah, so during weekends I'm actually spending time with my friends lah.
The
So
Singapore
yeah,
salary really works out.
So turn out I think your problem might be loneliness. So turn out
yeah,
it's not a big deal.
because I have lunch, 3 meals with him all the times. Now I have to eat by
Okay.
myself. Kwan.
Oh.
So you're gonna start doing all by myself now.
Have to.
Okay.
So you just have to grow up.
Okay. So how about Ara?
Okay,
No others to turn to now.
okay, finally, yeah. So,
Yeah.
I think back in uni, I used to hold a lot of club president positions. So during those moments, I would eventually have the team listen to me, right? So I left university with those positions, entering a market where I am a low-level exec, right? Initially back in 2017. So at that moment, I had that, like, for me, I never had a problem talking. I would always speak out. It was never an issue. But sometimes I would speak nonsense. You understand? So that is something I had to fix. And that is something I assumed that I would be able to get away with throughout my entire life. But that's not the fact. So the main thing that I imagined it this way, and that is how it turned out to be, and how I fixed myself, an additional answer to you, Kwan, is that choose the right timing of when you want to speak. Rather than blurting it out or just saying whatever you have to say, even if the conversation's finished, it's fine. You choose the right opportunity and then say what you need to say, and only then will you be heard, and your value will be seen by whoever it is that has to see it in your company. Damn, nice answer, man.
Yeah. I give you 2% before you to rehearse for this answer. So yeah, thank you. Okay. So we still have a lot of questions coming from the people, but because now it's already 3:30, that doesn't mean that we are not going to answer you anymore. But now we are going to pick one person to answer each question. Yeah. So we have 3 more questions. So now the next question is from Brian Lee. So what are the things that you have picked up from studying Curtin that help you excel in the job? Anybody want to answer? Before I pick someone?
Anyone?
Anybody want to answer this?
Okay.
Okay. I guess the last question will be the most difficult, so you better answer something now.
Is it me? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you won.
I think the thing that I picked up from studying Curtin is how do you focus and put all your effort in on doing things 1 day or 2 days before the deadline is due. I think it's as very typical that it sounds, but I think that when you learn how to deal with the stress management and how to keep yourself healthy to study and being also to submit deadlines and do many of the other assignments and homework, it kind of prepares you really good to the workforce, because in the workforce, once you're done with one task, there's million other tasks waiting for you to be completed. So I think the time management and how to handle your stress in a healthy way is really crucial that you can practice back in uni. I think back in uni, you can choose. There's a lot of time for you to experiment what's best time management skill works best for you. I'm someone that works best when it's 1 or 2 days or 1 or 2 hours before the deadline is due, and I know that works for me. And it's a part of understanding about the style that you work as well, because I know that there's many other people who prefer to, especially like my sister, when she goes to uni, she likes to draw out every task to different small sections and do it day by day, and that's her style. And I think Oh, that's Julia's style. So I think finding the way that you deal with a task and how to deal with the stress and the time of it is really important. And then you can apply that when you go to the workplace.
Okay, so the
Okay.
skill you learn is how to burn the midnight oil.
Yes, yes. How to burn the midnight
Okay.
oil. Are you
Okay.
someone who can run things last minute, or do you like to do things planned out and not rush things?
Learn about yourself.
Yeah.
Last minute
Um,
all the way.
Okay.
For me, I camp at the ICT whenever there's assignment due the next day. So that's my style.
I think that everyone like experienced that before.
Okay.
Okay, so next question. Okay, from Mei Ling. Okay, now that you experience working abroad, what advice would you tell your younger self when you first decided to work abroad? So who wanna answer that?
That's two down there.
Ladies,
Okay, Lekpa.
Okay,
Okay.
the one.
I think we can just rephrase from what we have shared previously, the 3 points. You have to be financially prepared, mentally prepared, as well as what Araf say.
What did he
Okay.
say?
wait,
Oh,
I say
no.
so many
Sentimental good pack.
Araf shares so many quotes, you know.
Sentimental.
Sentimental
you know-
good pack.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, actually right now, although due to the COVID pandemic, it's pretty hard to find a job, especially for fresh grades. But I think doesn't matter. Don't be upset about that. It's because of the economics right now. So maybe you can try to attend some trainings or internships programs like we have mentioned earlier to master your skills on everything. You know, after the COVID, when everything's get better, and by then you actually prepare yourself already, and which help you to stand amongst the pools of candidates, right? That's one of your competitive advantage as well. So yeah, I think it's okay. Just be prepared. Yeah, and don't give up.
Okay. Since the question is asking you, what would you tell your younger self, right? So, in the sense, I mean, okay, so now imagine 2 years, back 2 years ago, before you start, and now. So, what would you
Mhm.
tell her? Like, don't be so childish, or what kind of thing you want to
Advice.
tell
What
yourself?
advice you
Yeah,
would
you want to
give?
tell that. You want to tell yourself,
go to me.
like,
I would
maybe don't go frequent that much, so you won't missing that much. Maybe that's another advice.
I would say, okay, I've been through let's say the job searching process. It's quite a long journey as well. So let's say I'll tell myself, don't give up easily, because actually
Okay.
halfway I decided to give up because it's so hard to get a job and no replies after I have submit so many resumes. But you know, I tried different, not just submitting to the job portals. I try to LinkedIn as well to connect with the people. You know, there's people sharing the HRs over this. What means is doing. Drop a message to them, say hi to them. Hey, I'm dropping a resume to you. You know, try to get notified with them. You know, don't always just try the same method. If this way doesn't work, maybe you can try various ways. There's a lot of ways for you to find a jobs or what's working abroad. So yeah, I mean, to try more. You never know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we have one last question. So,
Mm.
so we have the one last candidate
I'm
from
the hardest one,
Yes.
Nomida Daje.
Yeah.
So, what is the response of people out there when you mention to them that you are a Curtin graduate?
All right.
It's
I think
graduate from Curtin.
okay. Firstly, people think I'm rich for some reason. Whenever I say go to Curtin, I don't know why. So
You know, we all are not.
I'll be like, yo, I came to Curtin because it's the more affordable Curtin there is, right? So if I was rich, I would have been in Australia by now. So, but I think overall feedback throughout the last 3 years, ever since I left, it has been tremendous. Because whenever I've met people from different universities, and the good part is the people that I interact with, I've met so many clients who are from Curtin, right? Like from Curtin, who are Curtin students, alumni as well, from different banks, different tech firms, and so on. So overall, whenever anybody hears I'm from Curtin itself, they expect me to be smart. I really like that, even though I'm not the smartest bunch. And number two would be that they really acknowledge the fact that Curtin is one of the pioneer universities in Malaysia and ranks among the tops at all times throughout. And therefore, the self sense of respect, of social respect that you are from this university is already here. And overall, that is in Malaysia itself. But even when I go back to Bangladesh, right, Curtin is pretty well known there because a lot of Bangladeshis come to come to Malaysia to study in Curtin. And even when I go back to Bangladesh and they hear about Curtin, the response is always amazing because they always like, oh yeah, I know Curtin. And it always feels good when people who have not been to Malaysia know that university is in Malaysia, right? So that is one of the very, very good feedbacks that I've gotten. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess as to summarize, I guess people receive it quite
Yes.
when we tell others. I mean, I think all of us will share the same common situation that when we tell others we are from 13, most of them, even they never heard about it, they'll be like, oh, from Australia. So, they kind of have a good connotation behind it. But for those who know about 13, most of them will be like, oh, they will receive us like, you will meet a lot of alumni out there. That's for sure. So, and by the way, I am a committee member for Malaysia chapters for alumni. So for whoever want to join us, you guys can find us in Facebook. Okay, so it's kind of like a ad coming in. Okay, so yeah, so it's a promo for us. So now, actually, I think we already finished all of the questions. And for those who have any questions who want to ask about Curtin, about our courses, and about our uni, you can. Do you guys see a QR code out there, right? You can scan there, and they will directly direct you to a live chat session with our course counselor. So they will be available until 8 p.m. today. So if you have any questions about our courses or our uni, and how much we rank globally, you guys are welcome to scan there.
Yeah, and
Okay,
we
so
also left the link down at the comment below. So if you can't scan the code, then you can just press on the link.
okay, so now one of the most important things after all the Q&A, now it's time to announce who is the winner for our lucky draw. So
Woo!
okay, so for the lucky winner here is HC Che Thai Senior. Yeah, HC Thai Senior and Kwan Nguyen.
One.
Yo, Kwan!
Nguyen. I think Lik Fang did something. I don't know what she did to the lottery system or something. So
Oh
Kwan,
my God, Kwan, you have
congratulations.
to buy me food.
And also HC Thai Thai Senior. So for two of you, our staff will PM you later and ask for your information. So you guys can pass for, where do you stay or something, so we can send you the lucky draw prize. Okay. So now it's already 3:45. The running time is longer than we expected. So it's a very insightful section here. We have Araf, Mint, and Lik Fang share with us how is your experience working in the country that they are not born in, and the culture they are actually facing, and how the team actually help them to face with all this challenge. So since we already kind of like overrun 15 minutes for 10 minutes, so I guess this is the end of the session. For those who have any questions, please remember you can scan the QR code there. And yeah, so that's all for today. Thanks for
Yes.
joining us, and thanks,
Thank
Ara.
you.
Thank you.
for
And
coming.
thanks for your sharing. Yeah,
Thank you for
so
being here.
thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. See you guys.
See
You guys.
you.
Sure.